All right. Welcome back to another episode of the Nerd Holes. Tonight we're going to start I guess, what are we calling it? Our video game uh
Yeah.
thing because so our goal is to see Mario in April. And
Yep.
so leading up to that, we're going to talk about Mario's greatest competition, which is Sonic.
Yeah.
Remember as a kid they
Yep.
always kind of
It's
had them they always had you like you had to pick your favorite. You either had to like Sonic or Mario.
right. Yep. Yeah. There was basically homes that were divided between Sega Genesis and like Super Nintendos and stuff.
Yeah.
It was like if the one kid didn't have some like basically one kid would have one and one kid would have other. Like very rarely was there a household that had both of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm probably impartial because I was a Sega kid. I didn't have a Nintendo,
Yeah, same. I
but
didn't. Yeah.
I think Sonic is a cooler character. He's not a fat plumber.
Yeah. It's funny. I honestly I like the story and like how overspanning like the Mario universe is, like all that
Hmm.
stuff, and the more diverse characters, and there's a lot more to the Mario everything. But like growing up, I always was like didn't care about the games, and I always liked playing the
Hmm.
Sonic games.
Yeah, even to the point where like you got annoyed that like there'd be a new Mario game all the
Yeah,
time. You're like,
yeah,
oh, good, another Mario game.
yeah, it's true.
And that hasn't changed. You know,
No, no.
what's Nintendo? It's Zelda, Mario, Pokemon. I mean,
Yeah,
that's like their main franchise. They're just
yeah,
now starting to like port other stuff like to the Switch, which
yeah.
is
Now that
interesting to me.
they bought out, I guess Sega or the company who owned
Hmm.
Sonic, like now they're starting to put Sonic games out.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah, that's kind of cool. So yeah, so tonight we're gonna start right at the beginning. We're gonna start right with Sonic the Hedgehog. So let's see. Yeah, so Sonic came out in 2020,
yeah,
right before everything went crazy. It came out
yeah, like
on
literally a month.
Valentine's. Yeah,
Yeah,
right. Yeah, it released
crazy.
on Valentine's Day. I'm pretty sure I saw it. I saw it Valentine's
Yeah,
Day.
you saw it in theaters. Yeah,
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 I remember. Yeah, because that was like the last movie I saw before, then the theater shut down, and then like it was crazy.
yeah. I mean, and I think what was your first one back, Spider-Man?
Probably, yeah, yeah. I can't remember. Spider-Man. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that sounds about right.
No, I remember you seeing it, and it was like obviously the Sonic movie was on my radar. I just was like, whatever. I didn't
Hmm.
think anything of it. It just was like, I'll eventually see it at some point, and then the pandemic happened, and then it just like went way over here. And then the
Yeah,
second one came out, and it was getting like really good reviews, and like everybody was like, "This is a great movie," and I was like, "Man, I gotta watch that." And now, almost a year later, I watched the first one. So
yeah. The third one will be out soon.
yeah, no, really,
I think the
that's
third
right.
one, 24. I think is when they're planning 24. And I also read that
Not too
they're planning on like a separate Knuckles thing too.
makes sense.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. So the main star of Sonic is voiced by Ben Schwartz, who I specifically know from Parks and
Parks and
Recreations.
Rec. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean he's such a funny character on that show. Adrian and
John
I used
Rock.
to quote him all the time. Yeah, John Raffia. Yeah,
Yeah, okay, yeah, okay,
yeah. Money, please.
yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty good. So
Oh,
then,
and the other one
obvious,
is
yeah,
oh, it was right there, but yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
yeah, it's him and his sister.
it's the don't yeah the don't be suspicious thing, but there's another one that he says a lot too. And I can't. It
The
came and then it went.
worst.
Yeah, that's what it is. The word. That's what it is.
The
That's what it is.
Yep. Oh man, that's good. So then, obviously, Dr. Robotnik is played by Jim Carrey.
Yeah,
which is probably the first time I've seen him in a movie in a long time, probably since
I
like
mean,
Lemony
yeah, like
Lemony
at least in
Snicket's.
a comedic role. Yeah,
What did he did like Mr. Popper's Penguins?
he did
Uh,
that, and then he did.
yeah.
I think he was in something else, but it wasn't like funny. I think it was like a serious movie,
Oh,
and then he kind of was off the radar. I
yeah,
think.
yeah, yeah. He was
Honestly,
for a
it's
bit.
really funny to watch him in it because it's like he's very Jim Carrey, but at the same
Mhm.
time, it's like he feels so out of place
Yeah,
because it's just like the movie is so I don't know. It's like it's a weird thing where he plays a really great villain, but he's also like really stupid, but he's also really smart. He has like this weird middle ground that he just kind of lives in.
I think he evens out in the second one. I
Well, it
think in
seems
this
like
first one he's like a little bit more over the top, you know.
yeah, it seemed like by the end of the movie, which we'll get into, he he's just gonna like fully develop
Yeah.
his character from the games.
I think he's kind of you see him as being over the top because he's supposed to be like this brilliant scientist, and he's a goof, you know.
Yeah,
He's Jim Carrey,
right.
and then in the second one, I think they lean more into like Dr. Eggman being just kind of like just nuts, and that's kind of more of a character that he's used to like playing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can totally see that.
But but I really do. I really like him as Dr.
Oh yeah,
Robotnik.
he's really good in the movie.
He's
I like him.
super entertaining. You know?
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. That part when he first arrives and he like does
Yeah.
the thing and then he keeps talking and talk.
Yeah.
That was really funny. It was like almost like Ace Ventura kind of level of
Mm,
like interaction. It was nice.
yeah. Yeah. What does he say to the general guy?
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
pretty good. So then Tom, the sheriff of Green Hills,
Yeah.
is played by James Marston.
Yeah. James Marston.
He's been in a bunch of things too.
I think most notably he's Cyclops.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. 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 Yeah. That's crazy. You
I
almost don't
know, like he
recognize him.
he,
You don't
he
recognize him.
plays like a yeah, but he's yeah, you're right. He's been in tons of stuff.
Yeah. And I mean, he does pretty well. I mean, if you think about it, he's kind of acting on his own
Like
in the
nothing.
movie.
Yeah.
He's like, he's not talking to anything.
That's kind of what I was wondering. I didn't look into it, but I was kind of wondering if there was like literally anything.
I think there
Like, is he
was,
just
but
talking to the air, or is there like a doll, or is there a kid, or like a tennis ball? Like, I just was wondering what is he actually looking at?
yeah, I'm pretty sure they used like do the green screen aid, like they do with Rocket, the ball.
Yeah,
No. Well, actually, no. Yeah. Yeah, I think they did that with Rocket for a while too, but then they did have the actual actor like in a green suit at one point too.
yeah. They kind of change it up with that with specifically Guardians. I think it's just the
You
way James Gunn films.
you kind of need to. You need to have everybody like there, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
to like play off of each other. So, yeah, I don't know. So the movie was directed by Jeff Fowler, and it says that this was his first like directing debut. This movie
Okay.
because
Wow,
he's never been a director before.
that's cool.
Yeah. So the movie kind of went through a long process. The 1990s, they like had a plan for
Wow,
making a movie. Then Sony bought the rights in 2013 and didn't do anything. And then they hired Fowler to direct it in 2016. And
wow.
then after that, Sony put the movie into a turnaround. Then Paramount acquired it in 2017. And then the cast all officially signed their contracts in August of 2018. And they started filming like right after that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which makes sense because it's usually like a year or two it takes for the animation. So those guys That's
Mm.
gotta be crazy. I always forget about it. That probably, James and Jim and what's the other guy's name? Alan? What's his name? The Sonic guy.
Ben.
Oh, Ben. Um, like those guys probably went into the recording booth,
Yeah.
did all their stuff, took days, weeks to do it, and then like a year and a half, 2 years later,
Hmm.
they're promoting it.
Yeah, they probably
That's
got
probably
called in for Ben specifically. Probably got called in for like revoice
yeah,
lines and that kind of stuff. But
yeah,
yeah,
like
nothing really.
grunts and yeah, whatever. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So then, well, I guess they filmed mostly in Vancouver. I read too, which is kind of
yeah.
cool.
That is like the new place.
Yeah.
I've been listening to certain podcasts, and they talk about like yes, Hollywood's cool and blah blah blah, and all this. There's a lot of studios there, but like
Hmm.
almost everything is filmed in Vancouver now.
Oh, yeah. It's super cheap.
Yeah,
So cheap. You don't have to shut down like city roads.
yeah. I think there's a lot of like there's just a variation of landmarks and like buildings and
Hmm.
like backgrounds and stuff that like
Yeah,
you know.
that's interesting too because like I fully believed like that they were in like Seattle area.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Montana, I
Like
think, right? Yeah.
that whole like
Yeah, like
West
yeah, what they
Coast
said.
area.
Northwest,
Yeah,
yeah.
the pine trees and all that stuff.
Very much so.
Yeah. Yeah, so then the trailer came out in 2019. Remember that first trailer in 2019?
I do remember that first trailer.
What
It was rough.
yeah, it was bad. Well, we weren't in the minority though either. That's the thing.
I remember when I I remember when I saw it. I remember being like, he doesn't look anything like he does. Like even in the cartoon series, like the video game is like slightly interpretive because he's a tiny pixel thing on the screen. But
Right.
like even for the cartoon, it's like he doesn't look anything like that. He looks I don't even know what I think they were trying to make him look more realistic, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
They
they
were
were.
trying to get like a more animal face to him.
Yeah, they didn't want to go like super cartoony in like the proportions and stuff. They wanted to make him more like animalistic or like realistic.
And you know what? I think that's the one thing that they fixed him how he looked, but they left the rest of him and like his world and everything real, but then he
Mm-hmm.
looked cartoony. You know what I mean? He
Mm-hmm.
looked like everything around him made sense. Because like when I was watching the thing in the opening, the long claw owl lady is
Yeah.
like she looks great in the thing. She
Mm-hmm.
looks super like realistic. And then you had Sonic and then like the native whatever
Mm-hmm.
the
Yeah, oh, yeah.
kid is.
They look super cartoony.
Yeah, it's like it just looked like a animation, like a Saturday morning cartoon. And then he goes through the ring, and I was like, huh. But I was like, yeah, whatever. But then when they went to his little cave with the beanbag and all the stuff, I just kept being like, he looks so out of place compared to everything else.
Yeah.
And I think that was a thing that I think not trying to defend it, but I think if you had gone to the more realistic
Mm-hmm.
scale, he would have blended in, but he looked awful. So it's like, what do
Yeah.
you say? You know?
I it's interesting because I think that original design, right? I think it could have probably worked. I mean, he had weird like proportions, like head proportions, torso
Yeah,
proportion, and leg. They remember the legs were really tall,
yeah,
really had
yeah,
long legs. But honestly, the thing that really sends it into like that uncanny valley is
yeah,
his
yeah,
eyes and his teeth.
yeah. It's like his whole like inside of his
He
mouth.
had
Yeah,
like actual like canines and like real human looking teeth, and you're
yeah,
just
yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, that's not right. That's not right though.
No,
Because yeah, I mean, I
yeah,
Sonic is like iconic for these, the Mickey Mouse
yeah. Like the
eyes,
domey
right?
eyes, or yeah.
And they gave him two little pupils, so he's got these little tiny like bug eyes, and he's got teeth, and you're like, no, no
Mhm.
thanks, no thanks, whatever. I would like to see the original cut and see like
Yeah,
him fully animated like that. I think it'd be really interesting.
I think it would be too.
Yeah, it's just kind of
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah, so that trailer did not do good at all. So
No.
it was only like a couple weeks after that where Jeff Fowler, the director, he like posted on Twitter and he said, yeah, we're gonna do a redesign of Sonic. You know, I think he
Yeah,
realized that he wasn't just trying to make money quick with the movie. I think he really saw like everybody's performances was worth like let's make the fans happy, you know.
right.
Let's not rush it out.
Because I think they also kind of knew that they had something. Like the movie wasn't
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah, right.
I forgot it was on Quarter Crew, and I watched it. They
Mm,
had the guy or somebody, the VFX guy on the show or
yeah.
somebody, and they talked about it, and everybody I think I don't think they talked about it, or he just generally brought it up because your first gut reaction is okay, that's terrible, and you're like, well, that movie's
Mm,
going to be awful, and then like you said, it was like a month or 4 weeks, 3 weeks later, and it was like, oh, he's changed, and you're like, oh, well, clearly that means you did this for like promotional reasons, and we're ready to go forth with this new design. But the
hmm.
guy said
No,
they had to like on the fly
they did.
basically
They
like redesign him.
they actually hired a separate company, an animation company. They
Yeah.
so the original company was Moving Picture Company.
Okay.
There's like five listed here, but they
Wow.
said that Mars Animation Planet, they are kind of like responsible for like the full like redesign. Like they didn't redesign them,
Wow.
but they're the ones that like animated the whole went through and animated the whole movie again. So it
Okay.
took it took 5 months to reanimate Sonic, and it cost them $5 billion. So a billion a month. So like I said, like they really must have been knew they had something special and they wanted to do a second one, you know? So they must have had plans.
Yeah.
The thing I
Wow.
think of too is like if you were to give me or like, a better artist, like a professional artist,
Sure.
like,
Sure.
hey,
Yeah.
so Sonic the Hedgehog, but we want him to look realistic. It's like, I don't know.
Right.
I mean, the reason that
Right.
the redesign looks so good is because he looks like the Sonic from the cartoon. But if you wanted
Yeah.
to make
Right.
him the real world, it's weird, you know. And
Right.
and I also think it becomes this thing where that company, they're just like every day you go to work every day, and like 10 hours a day you're just staring at the monitor. You're just working on the same thing, same thing,
Yeah.
same thing, same thing. You're not thinking about, hey, this looks weird. This is weird.
Right.
You're thinking, I want to get this done. I want to get the job done.
Right.
You're not
Right.
looking at little details anymore. You're looking at the big picture. You're just so focused on that you
Yeah.
you
Like
know
basically
you
his eye isn't popping out of his head, or his
right.
mouth is matching with the
Yeah.
dialogue.
But you have
Yeah.
somebody who comes in and hasn't sat at the computer for 2 years. You're like, that looks really weird. Why are you doing that? Why you keep doing that? I
Yeah.
guess like all the like Nintendo executives, they were like, they really didn't like it either, they really
Wow.
weren't happy with it. So so they ended up
Well,
hiring one of the
these just
original.
are very like you just make him look like them. Like they don't care.
Mhm.
It's like this is what our character looks like. Make that.
Yeah.
That's they don't because you look at like how they're doing the Mario movie, and it's just like
Hmm.
literally there's
Yeah.
no like interpretation. It's like it's just a movie with Mario.
Yeah. Yeah. And at least, it's a lot easier when everything is animated,
True.
too. You're just making a Mario game, but like a movie. The the other thing that I think made it look so bad too is that
Okay.
in 2019, Detective Pikachu came out.
Oh yeah.
And they were able to take little tiny, you know,
Yeah.
pocket monsters, make them look realistic, add all the hair and detail, and it was
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
beautiful. I mean, that movie's beautiful.
Yeah. They blended in so fantastically. I know.
Seamlessly, right? And then
Yeah,
you
that's
switch over
true.
to this character that should be pretty easy, and you're like, what the heck are they doing? So so
Yeah.
they hired an artist that had been really involved with a lot of like Sonic stuff in the past.
Okay.
uh what was his name? I wrote it down here. Tyson Hess.
Okay.
They brought him in, and they brought him in to like lead. the redesign of Sonic.
No,
So that was kind of smart.
that's cool.
Like, hey, so you've drawn and worked on Sonic for years. Like, why don't you just tell us like what we're like basically an
Yeah,
outside perspective? Be like, yeah, so change this, change his eyes, change his mouth.
yeah, really. I mean, they capture him really good in the end result of the movie,
Mm-hmm.
like how you imagine he looks and things of that nature. Yeah,
You know what I think about too is like just in the small amount of like editing and stuff that I've done, like video editing, I'm like, did they did they have like Sonic on his own like layer, like movie layer
they
to
must
just be
have.
able to just like delete him out instead of like editing over or like editing him out of shots and editing the new Sonic
I
in?
I think what they did was they took the base mold of Sonic and then just manipulated his like appearance.
Yeah.
And then just that mold is used to put his hands on steering wheels and like
Mm,
grab things and do things, and all that changes now. Like the base of the mold is changed, and that could just be that's just it's like they just do a big update across the film.
right.
That's what I
Yeah,
would assume.
that makes sense. Yeah, I mean they change what was the other? Yeah, remember too he had like actual hands. He had like human hands and
Yeah,
they were like
I
a
do
different
remember that.
color. But I was thinking about scenes too, like even that scene where he jumps and he gives Tom like a high five. You can see like the texture of his glove. It's like super
Yeah,
realistic, like
yeah,
knitted.
yeah. I mean,
So
even
it's just
when he's playing the baseball, he has like the clay on his gloves
oh
and
yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh yeah. So what else did I have? I think that's about it for like the basic basic information background. Yeah. So all in all, this was your first time watching it, right? This is your
Yeah, yeah. Other than seeing the trailer for it, I didn't know much about it.
yeah. So yeah, overall, it's not like, it's not a movie that's like breaking any new grounds. It's not
No, but
it's a pretty straightforward story.
yeah, uh, yeah, it was a thing where I would start to be like, hmm, but then I would be like, well, it is by and large kind of like a kid movie to a
Hmm.
degree. So
Yeah.
anything I was starting to like, be like, well, I would just be like, it's fine. Because like this, a couple of my things was like when he pranks him, and then
Hmm.
the thing shows San Francisco, and he reacts appropriately. He's just like, what? And then he comes out of the cage and he starts talking to him, and then they just kind of become fast friends really quickly, and not
Hmm.
for really any good reason. Like he doesn't really know that Dr. Robotnik is like a bad guy. He's just a weird guy out on his front lawn. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
it's just so it was just funny. He was like, "Yeah," and I was just like, I think an average person would freak out a lot more. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so
Yeah.
at the same time, it's like, what
Yeah.
do you really want from it? Like,
Yeah.
do you
Right.
not you want them to spend 25, 30 minutes on him coming to terms with it, and then the movie goes for? It's like, no, no, thank you.
No, and I think they do kind of a good thing with like that crazy guy that lives in town, Crazy Carl,
Yeah, great. Yeah,
and he
yeah,
keeps seeing the blue devil.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I think it's already kind of programmed into like Tom that like, oh wow, okay, so that's what this is. This is what
Right.
Crazy Carl's been seeing. So you kind of able to move past that. And Dr. Robotnik is a weird enough guy anyway, where you're like already don't trust him. You're like,
Yeah, yeah,
this
yeah,
guy's
yeah.
weird.
I basically what I summed it up to was like it's one if you watch this through the lens of like an 80s movie
Hmm.
where they find the weird thing, like you know what I mean? Like
Oh, it's
E.T. or
E.T.
Harry and the
Yeah.
Hendersons or whatever. It works perfectly. It is literally like those it's just like they find the weird thing and then they go
Hmm.
on an adventure. Like
There's a
that's the
bad guy that
movie.
wants to hunt him, and the government that wants
Exactly.
to operate on him. Yeah,
Yeah. Johnny, it's like short circuit, all that stuff.
I love it.
Yeah. Once I kind of was like, no, just watch it like that. Don't try to be like super
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
whatever about it.
Yeah, don't pull it apart.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was like. Yeah, this doesn't need that. This movie doesn't need this type of
Yeah.
level of examining.
The funny thing too is like Ben, for me, Ben Schwartz, it's kind of what I always kind of pictured Sonic being like.
Yeah,
He's kind of like this really talkative, like ADHD, like cocky,
yeah,
cocky
yeah, yeah.
personality. And I think he does such a good job
It
at
really
his
does.
his voice lines and stuff. Like that scene, like I just was talking about Crazy Carl.
Oh
Crazy
yeah,
Carl's like, I know you're out there. And he's like, no, I don't. So it's so
yeah.
funny.
He does such a good job that I you stop thinking about Ben voicing him.
Oh yeah,
You just think it's just Sonic is
he
talking,
is. Yeah,
right?
he is Sonic.
He you get very lost in the character.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was a couple times where I was like, oh yeah, it's that guy. It's the Parks and Rec guy. There was a couple way he phrased
Mm-hmm.
things and how he said things, but overall,
Almost,
like,
almost like he was referencing his other character too.
yeah, there were a lot of stuff like that in the movie
Mm-hmm.
that it's like you blink or look away.
Yeah. There's a
Because
lot
like
of like, yeah. Go ahead.
me,
Yeah.
so the thing I was immediately that I think is like really cool is when he is in his cave for the first time and he's doing everything in the cave and he's like partying and you know what I mean.
Mm,
There's a scene where I mean it literally lasts 2 seconds on the screen and he's in like a karate outfit or something,
oh yeah.
ping pong or something,
Mm-hmm.
and he does it and on his like bandana or whatever that thing's called, it's like the design on the front part of the bandana is like the when you win like you win the level of the
Mm-hmm.
game, that like logo with the circle and the wings on
Yeah.
the end of it, and he's like in the middle and he's like
Yeah.
yeah, that like symbol is on the head, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like that type of a scene, and I was just like, oh wow,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, that's super cool, isn't it? Plus, that's
and it
kind of like
is,
a reference to like the Olympics, like like they would all play,
yeah,
like, wasn't it the game the Olympics, the Sega? No, it was like, wasn't it Nintendo versus Sega, right? Where like they would all play sports against like
yeah,
Mario and
yeah,
stuff.
yes,
Yeah, so like the table
Mhm.
tennis and baseball and all that stuff.
Yeah,
The thing I like from that scene is him he reading all the
Flash
Flash
comics,
magazine.
and
Yeah.
the covers change as he's reading them.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's super cool. And it's just
yeah.
cool that he's just like collecting like stuff from Earth. He just loves like speed signs
I
and
think it was, yeah,
his
writes
foam hat.
135 on it. Yeah, yeah.
I love when he says, "Yeah, I can only take the essentials." So he's like, he's got his big Texas hat, and
The big Texas hat, yeah.
it's so funny.
I
And I
feel
do
like
like,
that's from something, right? Does he
yeah,
wear
it's
that
gotta
in
be.
something?
I don't know. It's got to be a reference to something. There's
Yeah,
so many like pop culture and like Sonic in general references in the movie.
true, true.
I love the part where he's driving the truck right in that chase scene, that first chase scene. So
Okay.
Sonic takes the wheel, and
Yeah.
he says, "Hey, look, I'm Vin Diesel."
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
he says, "It's all about family, Tom."
Yeah.
So good. I love that. It's so funny.
Yeah, and they play movies too. They play like random movies, remember? Like
Yeah.
he watched Speed and he's like, yeah, and he's like Pop Shot or Pop Quiz Hot Shot, and then
Yeah. Yeah.
like
Oh,
Naked Gun and all
Keanu.
this.
I love
Yeah.
Keanu. Yeah. The thing that I really like, it sets the movie up very like his personality very, very well. It's like he's been on Earth for a while, right? So Tom's
Right.
out there doing speed trap
Oh yeah.
and he runs by, and he's trying to break his record on the speed trap. And then it
Right.
zooms in on Tom and he's like, what the heck? And you can see like in the back window, Sonic's like looking at his
Yeah.
high score and he's like, yes. I love like the third, point of view where you can see him and you can see like
Yeah.
how he just, so
Absolutely.
good.
Yeah.
And
It is.
the music too is really good.
Some of the stuff like the end when they're painting,
Mm-hmm.
him and his wife are painting. It's like playing like it's playing like the one of the themes.
Yeah,
It's going.
it's like
Yeah.
yeah, but it's like piano-y.
Yeah. It's like really. It's more slower and
Yeah,
yeah. It
yeah, it's
was
pretty
like
good.
that's literally the theme. And also the place is called Green Hills,
Hmm.
which is like, that's
Yeah,
straight.
it's
That's
pretty
like
cool.
I'm pretty sure that's the first level of the first game.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Yeah, and then Lava Zone. Um, and the sound effect too, the like the rings, like when he
Yeah, when the
throws the
rings
ring
hit and stuff. Yeah.
or when
Even
they
when at
spill
the
out.
towards the end, yeah, when after he saves Tom and his wife and he hits the ground with all
Hmm.
the like drone things and the coins or the rings spill out. It makes like that like when you get like
Yeah,
hit in the game.
and all
Yeah.
your rings come. Yes, I love
Yeah.
that. There's a couple more too. That his when he rolls into a ball and goes super speed as a
Yeah.
ball. It's that is that power up sound.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing that I really appreciate too about like that end battle with Dr. Robotnik. And I don't know if
Yeah.
you probably picked up on it too, and it's pretty, but it's remember in the game, like the end, like every time you fight Robotnik, it's always like you're on this platform, he does his thing, then you jump and turn on a ball and hit the top of the machine,
Oh
and then you
yeah.
it's very much like repeated like action.
Yeah.
So the
Over and
end of the
over and over.
movie, that's how he beats him, right?
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
keeps hitting the top of his stupid flying little robot thing. And I
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
I thought that was so good, it's so
It
cool.
was great. I mean, I remember literally thinking it when they showed it and they did it. I was just like, I mean, this is literally how the game handles it. Like this is
That's so good.
perfect. I mean, really.
Yeah, I love that. I also thought it was kind of cool too. Like they took their rings, like they didn't have to add like rings to the movie at all. It's such a like a weird reference that Sonic collects rings anyway, but to make them
Yeah.
like how he travels through like
Like
worlds
realms
and
and stuff.
stuff, it's kind of
Yeah.
cool.
Was cool.
Yeah, I like that.
I thought they were being I thought I was cooler than cool when he was like Mushroom World, and I was like, is this a reference to Mario? And this all makes sense? And I was
Uh,
like, no, no,
no,
no, it doesn't.
that would be kind of cool though.
It was, yeah. I honestly thought that that's how they were like, sort of indicating like that's what they were doing, but no, it was just
Yeah,
Mushroom
that's
World.
just an awful world of mushrooms. Oh man, yeah, you can already see Robotnik going crazy at the end there when he's in
Yeah,
Mushroom World.
reconnaissance. That made me-
he's he's doing the robot one. Oh, he's so funny, and he's already got like this huge twirly
the
mustache. Oh,
huge
it's so good.
mustache.
It's so good. It's so good. And the goggles.
Him
Yeah, it's so
doing
good.
that and the his reaction when he first sees Sonic and he yell, he screams.
Yeah.
He's just like, oh, he's really stern and angry and he's a jerk.
Hmm.
And then also he's like, screams. I enjoyed that a lot.
I also
Yeah.
love too when he's working on like his new like robots with Sonic's quill, and he's like
Yeah.
dancing. It's so good.
Yes.
He's dancing. He's doing like he's got the screen behind him, and he's doing like the skiing,
It's
and then he does
funny.
like the part with the dinosaur, and he like puts his head down so it looks like his head's bit off. He's
Yeah.
dancing, and then Stone comes up behind him. He's like, "Of
I
course, I
love
want a
how you make
latte. I love the way you make them."
it.
Oh man, that would be a cool
Yeah, that and
that'd be a cool prop to make. Is that quill, Sonic's
ooh,
quill, like glowing? He does the.
yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, I thought about that when I was watching it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love his shoes. I
So you
love
won't
when
have to eat
The
anymore.
it's
girl
funny that
gives him the shoes.
her name was
Really?
JoJo.
Uh-huh.
No one's
Yeah,
ever
yeah,
given me a gift
that's
before.
funny. I
Yeah,
know.
Gotta check that off my bucket
so she
list.
gives him those nice Pumas, man. Those are some sweet shoes.
That
And
was
it's like,
cool.
okay, now he's got his classic, like now he's ready for the battle. He got the
Yeah.
little beat up Nikes he's been
All
wearing.
right, looking good.
You know what was made me laugh too? I think the only this was like the only one. There were two things in the movie that I thought they could have addressed differently, but I did it to a degree. But it was one of those things that like even for the movie it seemed unnecessary. So the road drone is coming after him.
Yeah.
Sonic takes care of it. The little baby drone comes out.
Yeah.
Sonic takes care of it.
And then it starts cutting the.
Then it's no. Then it's like the one wheel
Oh yeah, the tri wheel.
thing,
Yeah.
right? And so this time, instead of Sonic taking care of it, Tom's going to take care of it. And I was kind of like, well, that doesn't seem to make any sense. But I
Uh,
get it. Like, I understand that certain things need to transpire. But that, I was just like, why don't you just let Sonic keep taking it out? It wasn't like he was failing at it, you know? And then the other thing was when they got to San Francisco, and he was like, there, it's that building right up there. Somewhere's your rings. And he runs away and he comes back and he's like, yeah, I can't get on the roof because of a key. And I'm like, you can just run up the side of the building. We've already seen that you can like run upside down and stuff. I was just like, you don't need a
yeah,
key.
right. Yeah, no, but that is super funny to me though. That seems like that. Like I think that's what like Flash and like Quicksilver do very well, like in those movies, is the part where everybody's like they're coming up with a plan, right? Well, how are we gonna? And it's just like he's gone and he's back, and he's like, "Yep, no, it's blocked." They're all
Yeah,
talking about it, and he's already been in back, like
yeah,
the part
yeah.
with
That
the
was that
world's
was.
biggest ball of rubber band
Well,
ball,
yeah. I mean, yeah.
and he's
That it was
like,
that, and it was the him telling him to go west.
yeah, and he comes
Yep.
back.
And
I
he
ran right in
comes
the
back and
Pacific. Yeah, which is kind of smart too, because they're showing like, like why would Tom have to take him to San Francisco? He could be there in 3 seconds, right? And they're
right.
like, well, he's just a kid. He's never been out of Green Hills. He
He
he, he
doesn't
doesn't
know
know
anything.
where. You're like, okay, so I get that. It kind of helps like
Yeah,
sell that, because you're like, yeah, he
yeah.
just he just leave and be there.
Like, okay, yeah, I'll set. Yeah,
But I love that he comes back with all the souvenirs. It's like, yeah, you're right. It was lame. Gift shop was cool though. And the
yep.
bar, the scene in the bar where they're getting in the bar fight and stuff,
Yeah.
and then they're
They
playing "Don't
do.
Stop Me."
Yeah, they that bar fight scene and him on the roof before Robotnik
Mhm.
activates the quill thing.
Yeah,
Though, like the animation and like the slow motion of that is really
yeah.
very well done.
I'm a sucker for
I
slow
was like,
motion
oh,
scenes like that. Anyway,
yeah, it was really really good.
and I think they
I
they based that
I
on
was
like,
like, when he started to do it in the bar, I was like,
yeah.
hmm,
My internet is weird.
they based it on something. Said, oh,
Um, yeah, so they're kind of basing those scenes based on like the last couple times we've seen Quicksilver.
yeah,
So right, Days of Future Past. Remember where they're in the kitchen? Quicksilver's run through the
oh
kitchen, and like I love that stuff. I'm such a sucker for that. You could put that in every movie, and I'd love it.
yeah, really,
When he's flying around the bar,
really good.
yeah, I love that. And then the
Yeah,
end, right, with the missiles,
it's
and
like,
he's like, he picks up the two missiles and he's using
yeah,
them to like drum the other missiles away, but you still see like stuff
yeah,
blowing up like in slow motion. Yeah, it's pretty good.
yeah. Yeah, I do this. It was cool. I Yeah, it was really good. I was really excited, honestly, when they showed it. I was like, "Oh, nice."
Yeah. Yeah, he's super fast. You want to see what it's like from his point of view.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking like, oh man, it's gotta be torturous. Like every time you go fast, and it's just like everything's in slow motion.
I also love in the beginning when he helps that turtle go fast. Like he runs with the
Yeah, oh
turtle.
yeah. Then he drops it. And he's like, "Whoa!" And he goes back up. That's it. Yeah,
Oh man.
yeah, that was good.
I'm trying to think of like another like major like scene that I really enjoyed. I like when he's fighting that robot on the road and he turns into the ball for the first time and it like launches the,
Yeah,
the car, right? And he's like, "How are
yeah,
you
yeah,
alive?" And he's like, "I have no idea."
yeah, yeah,
But when he finally activates like his like charge at the end and his eyes like glow
yeah,
and he's got this Super Saiyan
yeah.
like blue like sparks. I
It
love that. I
just,
love
yeah,
that. And it gets
that
so
was
much
really good
better.
too.
It gets so much better in the second one because they do like one of my favorite things like from the video games in the second one, and you're just
Okay,
like, it's so cool. It's so cool.
that's cool. They
I think there's more references in the second one. I think they use more like sound effects from the game,
makes sense.
which is cool.
Yeah, it's
Oh, so I didn't. Yeah, no, go ahead. No, go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say I the only other big scene that I was thinking it was pretty cool, like was the drone like shooting up Tom's house.
Mm.
Like all of a sudden it just like ratcheted to 11 and they were like dropping on the ground. It's like, like, oh, okay.
And then, like, even during that song, it's like that seems a bit excessive. Like,
Yeah,
this is
yeah, exactly.
excessive.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But what were you gonna say though?
So when I saw this in theaters, um, I left right after, which is weird because I usually don't. Usually sit through the. I think it was late. I think it was late at night. So in the theater, I didn't see the end credits.
Oh, okay.
It was like a week later, and everybody was like, "Yeah, but what about tail? What about that tails scene?" And I was like, What are you? What is everybody talking about?" So I like looked it up. So did you see the end credit at the end?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not like crazy, but it's just funny.
Well,
Wonder if they added that after the redesign or if that was always kind of planned. I wonder, did they have to go back and edit Tails, like re-edit Tails?
oh, maybe.
I wonder what
Maybe.
his design. I wonder what his design originally looked like.
Yeah, maybe. Because the reason I stayed and watched was because, and it makes now that you say that, it's funny because when you saw the second one, you were
Mm-hmm.
telling me how the end credits was like
Yeah, it was like beginning of the movie.
it was like a retelling through the video game model.
Mm.
So when this one did it at the end, it was doing the same thing. It was showing the movie
Oh,
again
the
in video
credits.
game,
Yes.
yeah, like the actual credits.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, cool, this is what Caleb was talking about. So I was just like watching him, and then it just immediately was like
Mm.
Tails
Yeah.
stuff, like right as it ended. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind
it
of
was
cool.
him like carrying the turtle, and he's like running with the turtle and stuff. It was really funny.
Yeah, isn't that cool? Like it's like the
It's
original
really cool.
design, like computer design of like the 8-bit or 30
Yeah.
34-bit. And it's the
I
whole
mean, they
movie.
took like Jim Carrey's Robotnik and like put the swinging like wrecking ball thing
Yeah,
under him.
I
I
loved it.
loved it. It
I
was
love
like
it.
this is great.
The second, yeah, I remembered it more from the second one. I don't know why. Maybe because I didn't sit through the
That's
credits
what
of
I
the
was
first one.
thinking. Yeah.
But yeah, the second one is like it's so good. It's so good. It's even more like stylized, like as far as like cartoony, like drawn. I love that, like you don't need to add
Cool.
anything. You don't need to add anything in the credits. It's just but to do that is just
Yeah.
an extra step.
I know. It's cool.
Yeah, it is
It
pretty
was fun.
cool.
I don't know. It was a fun movie, and I just it was fun to watch, and it's light, and it's like I
Hmm.
don't know,
Yeah,
nice
it's
to
an
just
enjoyable movie.
yeah, it's a good fun action kind of like
Good,
creature.
good, good, clean family fun is what it is.
Pretty much. I mean, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like the third or fourth time I've watched it now.
Cool.
I'm excited to watch the second one again. I've only seen that in theaters,
Okay.
and I really liked it. So I'm really looking forward to watching it again. I think
Yeah.
you'll like it a lot more.
Yeah.
I
It
think,
seems like the second one's gonna play more into like his world and like more mechanics rather than like not that
mhm.
this game failed or was bad at it, but just like you had to sit back and explain everything, right? You have to in a
Yeah,
movie.
right.
You have to do it. So it would I expect this movie to not have as much explanation. Like it just be
No,
like
no, it's like Knuckles shows up and Sonic's like, I don't even understand why you don't like me. And he's like, oh, well, Kidnas and Hedgehogs been fighting for generations.
right,
And Sonic's like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
right,
They
right,
just breeze right past it.
right, right.
Um, yeah, so that's funny. The other thing I was gonna mention in the beginning that I just remembered was something kind of cool. You know how we always go through like not budget, but like gross, like what the movie's gross.
Oh, how much you made? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So it was the biggest opening weekend for a video game movie of all time.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It did 320 million gross. It was the sixth highest grossing movie of 2020. Um, I'm trying to think what else came out in 2020.
Not a ton of stuff.
Yeah, not a ton of stuff. A lot
Like
of stuff.
Birds of Prey came out, which
Mm,
that was like a big studio release.
did that Mulan? No, because that got released to TV because of COVID, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of a hard year to like judge like what's top 10 movies of the year. It's kind of
I don't
like
think
weird.
many things came out. Yeah.
No. Yeah.
I
So,
think it was like basically like Bill and Ted and like
oh
Tenet.
God.
Like those were the movies that came out, but like
Well, Tenet get
yeah,
delayed and delayed and delayed, and then it came out and it was like
delayed and delayed and delayed.
COVID
Yeah.
delayed it again. So the other thing too
Yeah.
is that it's the highest grossing video game movie of all time until Sonic 2 came out. Sonic 2 blew it out of the water.
That's cool. I like that because
Yeah.
like I don't know. I can
I'm
see why
sh-
everybody would like this movie and why it did well.
Mhm. And I'm sure Mario will beat those two movies for like highest grossing video game movie of all time.
Yeah, I'm
I would
interested to
assume.
see what that movie is all about.
I mean, there's people that like you talk to, and like my brother, he just like randomly said a couple weeks ago, he's like, yeah, I'm excited to see that Mario movie. I'm like, oh, really? Okay. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
interested. I'm interested in the Mario movie. I've always liked Mario. I love Chris Pratt, but I think it's a weird casting.
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. I don't know. I don't understand it, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Don't have to.
I mean, you break the stereotype, right? I mean, you don't have to make it Italian voiced, but
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's like Nintendo's flagship character too. So
Yeah, I
I don't
get the
know.
feeling that it's going to be a very like like the movie's going to open live action and then stuff's going to happen and they're all going to become cartoon characters
Really?
or video game characters. I honestly think the movie's going to open and Chris Pratt is going to be a plumber and he's going to have his brother and his girlfriend and like his jerk boss or something. And then those people are going to get sucked into the like a magic plumbing thing and he's going to come out and like Mushroom Kingdom, right, with
Uh,
Toad and all that stuff. I think maybe not, but
I can
I just
I can see that. I
because
can see
otherwise,
that.
like if you're how the only thing that doesn't make sense is like if okay, you're gonna make a Mario, so like he knows everything, and in the trailer he seems very confused and caught off guard, like they're showing him everything for the first time, and it's like if this is
Yeah.
really Mario, like he's not like that, and why is he talking like that? You know what I mean? Like talking like a normal person.
Yeah. Right.
So it just makes me think it's
Yeah.
sucked into the video game world type of thing.
I just want to see a movie where Mario gets like he joins the union and gets his plumbing license.
It's
Mario,
just
the early years.
yeah, it's just 120 minutes of him just scoring pipes and fitting
I'd love
them
it.
and
I'd watch it.
Mamma Mia.
Oh, mamma mia. The pipe like doesn't loosen. He's trying to loosen it. It won't loosen. It's stuck. And he's like, oh, ain't that a peach? Oh man. Yeah. So I'm interested. Didn't wait.
Yeah.
Didn't you say in this series of video game movies? You did, didn't you? Oh God. I forgot you said we had to watch the
There's
live action
I mean there's
Mario
only
Brothers.
one way to see the Mario movie.
Uh, where is that to watch? Is that even on
I
anything?
have no idea.
Are we gonna have to like go to like Walmart and dig through the $4 bin of DVDs and find that? Because
Probably Super Mario Brothers
oh God,
movie.
I thought that had been scrubbed from all existence, like the ET game for Game Boy.
Oh, mm. A
Remember that was an
Super
urban.
Mario.
Remember that was an urban legend that they took all those to the dump, and then years like I think it was a couple years ago, they excavated through the layers of garbage and they found like a bunch of them. So like it was true. Like they really did like just take them all to landfill, all those copies of the game. It wasn't Game Boy, it was Atari, I think. The Atari.
Where can I watch it?
And why? I'll be honest with you. I've never seen the whole movie. I've seen I've seen majority of it, and I've seen bits and parts of it. I've seen enough to know it's bad, and enough to know that I don't want to watch it.
Yeah, they say it's literally you can't. There's as of December, there's nowhere to watch it.
Oh my god.
We're
Well, I
gonna
better
have to
get
go
on.
through the $4 bin at Walmart.
I'm gonna have to get on Amazon and buy a freaking copy of it. That's what we'll
Um,
do. So Will and I have this thing where for every episode, I 3D print like something to put like on our shelf. So we have like a little
yeah.
collector's thing. And so yeah, for this stupid thing, so for this Mario movie, I'll just give you the DVD. You can just put that up on your shelf.
Well, the great thing is this May is the 30th anniversary of it, so
Mm. So it'll be streaming everywhere. Everybody will be celebrating. I'm sure.
everybody wanted it. Yeah,
30th year.
yeah.
Ah,
It's
that's
gonna
rough.
age so well.
Here's a question for you.
Okay.
Will it or will it not be better than Attack of the Clones?
Okay, here's the thing. I will
Huh?
enjoy myself watching it more than Attack of the Clones.
Yes.
But
Okay.
as a film,
No.
no.
I
No.
can see that. Yeah. I probably even like after we watch it and I'd probably still would rather rewatch Mario movie than
Yeah.
watch Attack of the Clones again.
Because you know it's
I,
going to be
I
awful, but it's like it's going to be so awful that it's going to be fun to watch. And Attack of the Clones is meant to be taken very seriously,
seriously, yeah, oh yeah.
and it's like I can't. So yeah,
Is the Mario one of those movies that's supposed to be well, not supposed to be obviously, but like fan reactions is it one of those movies that's so bad it's good or is it just so bad it's bad?
I think it's so bad it's bad.
So it's not even
I,
like supposed to be a movie that it's not like The Room. You're not supposed to like watch it.
no,
Like this is so terrible. It's just so fun.
that I enjoy it. I
It's
think
just
case in point, it not being around, not being available to stream anywhere is proof that like nobody wants to watch it.
that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh boy.
But that's
All
okay.
right.
We still got Sonic 2 down the line. And then that, and we'll be like,
Mm.
oh, so no matter that, the great thing is no matter how bad the actual animated Super Mario movie
Oh yeah.
is,
It can't be. It
right?
can't be.
It can't be. That
They
was
gotta
a
make
thing
you.
that years ago we I was getting John and I ready to watch Batman v Superman. So we went back and
Oh,
watched in order of release every
oh.
Batman movie and every Superman movie
Mm,
from the black and white stuff.
mm.
And so at the end when we were leaving, he was really like, "This is awful," and I was like, "Yes, but this is so much better than like the 1943 like black and white thing. That thing was awful.
Smudge.
Yeah, right. But it was like, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I will watch every episode of Adam West before
Well, Adam West stuff is good. Yeah.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
his stuff.
That's different. Yeah, that's different.
I gotta tell you, I haven't finished it because
Oh yeah.
I get these parts where like I'll eat lunch or I'll eat like and I'll like watch part of something. So I've sat through two installments. I've sat through two installments
Hey, that's all right.
of the Batman.
The Batman, yeah.
The Batman. And I got to I really enjoy it. I really enjoy it.
It's a really good detective movie.
I really like him as Bruce Wayne too, to be honest with you. It's like it's early years. I love early years superhero stuff.
Oh yeah.
He's still finding his groove. He's nocturnal, but he doesn't want to be nocturnal. Super tired all the time.
Right.
Beat up, And I like too that they don't make him like this invincible, like fighting guy. Like he gets beat up,
He gets hurt, yeah. He doesn't know all the answers. Yeah.
So I really enjoy it. And Commissioner Gordon.
I'll tell you the ending of it is very, very good.
I know, I gotta get to it. And Andy, right? Andy Serkis, isn't it Andy Serkis?
Andy Serkis. Yeah. It's Alfred. Yeah.
He was just in,
which is like better. It's a more. I think it's a more modern take on his character because he's like a military man.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
I think like in the 80s and the 90s they kind of rewrote his Alfred's backstory, but yeah, pretty cool.
It's cool. Yeah. Andy Serkis was just in Andor.
Oh yeah.
Did you watch all of Andor?
I haven't seen it. No.
It's pretty good. It's a time.
Yeah.
It's a time crunch. It's hard to watch everything. I mean, it really is. It's just.
It's partially like not having time and partially just like forgetting. Even stuff I want to watch, I'll forget that like there's a new thing of it or whatever.
There'll be stuff that I'm like, oh yeah, I want to watch that. And then like I'll have like lunch or dinner or like be home on like a Saturday, and I'll like turn something on and like either like I don't want to take the time to sit there and watch, 2 episodes or like a whole movie, and I'll just like put YouTube on and watch something quick while I eat.
Yeah.
Like I love movies, but it's got to be an event. You can't just like sit on the couch and sit 2 hours to watch a movie. There's so many other things I could be doing.
It's true.
Yeah. Cool. Well, that is Sonic the Hedgehog 2020.
Yeah.
2020. Yeah.
2020.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty decent.
Fun movie.
I enjoyed it. It was nice.
The other thing they did too in the original trailer, the bad trailer that came out, they had Gangster's Paradise was like this song that played.
Okay. I don't remember, but okay.
And then they switched it to Supersonic, which is like so much better. Or no, maybe Supersonic was the second movie trailer. I don't know. But yeah, no, they switched music around because even in this, there's is it the bar fight scene where the music kicks in and he goes, "My feet go boom, 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 boom."
Yeah,
what part was that? Or is it? It wasn't the end. It was in the beginning somewhere.
I think it was in the bar. I think you're right. It was in the bar.
Yeah, during the slowdown scene.
Then I think they change it. Yeah.
Pretty good. Yeah, so we enjoyed it. I'm hoping that you enjoy the second one more, and I'm looking forward to watching the second one.
Sure. Idris voices Knuckles, so I'm on board.
Oh, yeah, and it's a much better performance than his last performance in Uncharted.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He makes it through the whole movie in Sonic 2. Tails stabs him. Oh man. All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed our take on Sonic. from
Sonic.
2020. So yeah, if you haven't seen it, I'd say watch it.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good movie. Second one is good. And yeah, so we'll see you back here a couple weeks or so. What's the next one we're doing?
Sonic 2.
Okay. All right. Thought maybe you're gonna throw Mario in the middle there.
No, 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 no. Oh,
No. We'll do that closer to April, right? That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay,
So that
cool.
it's like, oh, you can, cleanse your mind with the new one.
Yeah. All right, cool. All right, well, we will see you guys next time.